Ask anyone that grew up with Nintendo 64 what were their top 5 favorite games on the console. I can guarantee you that in some shape or form, Ocarina of Time will almost always be on people's lists. This game was a revolution in gaming history and an instant classic of its time. So when it came down to making a sequel, how would Nintendo top such a game considered a masterpiece by many? The answer is simple really. You don't. Majora's Mask was never meant to compete with Ocarina of Time. It was meant to carry on its legacy. I'm personally not the biggest fan of people debating which game is better than the other, because both games are equally good in their own right. Sure, one game might have done a concept better than the other, and people always have their personal preferences. I won't even deny the fact that I'm a bit biased towards Majora's Mask and enjoy the game a bit more than Ocarina of Time. But I wouldn't say Ocarina of Time is a lesser experience than Majora's Mask because that's simply not true. Ocarina of Time tackles themes of adulthood, maturity, and what it takes to become a hero, while Majora's Mask on the other hand tackles a lot more different themes such as despair, grief, and the harsh reality of being a hero. This can be apparent to the first few seconds we get to control Link in each game. One is having you do mundane yet lighthearted tasks in an environment that Link is familiar with a very cheerful track playing in the background. The other places Link in a very unfamiliar and uncharted area, stranded essentially, with a desperation to get back his horse, while a very quick pace and uncomfortable track placed in the background. Two sides of the same coin. Now that I explained all that, I want you to watch this video in mind that I'm not here to compare the two or explain what made one better than the other. Yes, I will be using Ocarina of Time as a reference to explain some of my points, and sure, they are connected plot wise and come from the same franchise, yet they're two different games with two different stories. They may share a lot of similarities, but at the end of the day, they're basically apples and oranges. You just cannot compare the two and should be enjoyed by their own terms and what they have to offer. So that being said, ladies, gentlemen, and users of the internet, today I would like to discuss with you on what made Majora's Mask so great. Enjoy. What Majora's Mask did differently to Ocarina of Time is to add tons and tons more of side quests. Of course, in sacrifice of less dungeons. This allowed Majora's Mask NPCs to be more in-depth compared to Ocarina of Time's NPCs. We get to follow these NPCs on the final 3 days and get a sense of who they really are. If you actually spend the time to get to know these characters, you'll come to understand that they have a schedule to attend to, they have goals to accomplish, and overall have steady emotions towards their own surroundings. Of course, some are less detailed and complex compared to the others, but the fact still stands that these are characters outside of just being NPCs for the player to interact with. And by the end of the game, if you've bothered with a side quest that is, we've come to love these characters and the hardships they had to endure to reach this point of their development. But here's the thing though, no matter how hard you try to help a certain NPC or how many times you tried, in the end it doesn't really matter what you end up doing, as the final day forces the player to rewind time to the first day, resetting all the progress you've done so far. Andrew and Cafe are no longer reunited as a happily married couple, but instead reverted into a couple who are desperately looking for each other once more. Pamela is no more in the hands of her father crying and rejoiced, but instead hiding his transformed father in the closet for the safety of his own life. One of the Gorman brothers no longer holds his head high with the determination to keep pushing forward with his career, but instead reverted back to having his head showered in alcohol, drinking away his worries of what will come out of his career. And the list goes on. Thanks to the time travel mechanic, it really does create an illusion of a never-ending cycle. No one really remembers who you are after a reset, making the player, and more importantly, Link, to constantly feel alone. An example I can use in Ocarina of Time is Kakariko Village. No matter if it's day or night, young or old, I always felt a sense of protection and familiarity going to this place. Maybe it was the soothing and calming track that played while visiting this place. Or maybe it's just the fact that it's one of the few places that not much of a threat appeared in. Clocktown does not feel like that at all. Yes, there may not be any sort of threat going on that can cause the player a game over, but it's something as simple as the moon getting closer and closer by the day that causes a sense of danger. It doesn't help that the background track picks up in pace by the day either. There's actually a short 2-minute animated video by ScottFalco that really captures the feeling of despair. This video always brings me at the edge of tears, so I really recommend checking it out. It's just 2 minutes and I'll even leave a link down below. For a rated E game, this game is extremely dark, tackling themes of fear, despair, and death. The best way I can put it is by comparing the Hyrule Market with Clocktown. Walking around the market as young Link, it's a very lively and pretty active place with people dancing to a very energetic song. In contrast, adult Link has a more eerie scenery of the aftermath on Ganondorf's attack. Instead of happy, cheerful people dancing away at the market, we see the undead roaming around, attacking anyone who's brave enough to cross the abandoned market. Buildings are rotting away and there's no longer an upbeat music. Instead, it's replaced by the howling sounds of the wind passing by. In Hyrule Market, we don't get to see any sort of process, just the before and aftermath. Clocktown, on the other hand, is neither before or after the fall. It's instead the in-between on how the town slowly falls into a spiral of fear. We get to see how the people of Termina react to the moon getting closer and closer by the day. And it's just the most heart-wrenching scenery I've seen in any Nintendo game. Well, almost. I've stated this before in one of my videos from my old channel that the one moment that stands out the most for me is Premia numbing Romani's senses with alcohol to prevent her from witnessing the end of the world. Just let that sink in for a minute. This game does not hold back any punches with its themes. Just a quick look at how this game was being marketed when it was being released back in 2000, it's clear as the night sky that they were really aiming for that doomsday atmosphere. And my God, did they succeed doing so. Both of these commercials are pretty similar to one another. To summarize, the entire world tunes into a broadcast of a young boy playing Majora's Mask as a last resort to prevent the underworld from occurring. It's actually pretty fitting as people back in 2000 actually did thought that the world was ending, but I digress. Watching these clips in 2018 is a bit silly and cheesy, but I can't but feel baffled by the fact that this actually aired on TV at one point, while aiming at a younger audience. How the hell did Nintendo manage to pull this off is beyond me.
One home. Rated E for everyone.
And now I want to get into the nitty gritty of why I consider Majora's Mask to be in my top 5 Zelda games. The time mechanic. I've yet to experience another game that makes me feel anxious of wasting any second doing anything but the task I set out to do. Well, maybe Persona 5 to some extent. I unfortunately played this game as a little kid on my brother's computer file, and at the time I wasn't all that interested in completing the game and mainly messed around in Clocktown. One thing led to another and I somehow figured out that you can slow down time by playing the Song of Time backwards. So going into actually beating the game for the first time earlier of 2017, I didn't have too much issue managing my time like others. But I can only imagine how nerve-wracking this mechanic must be for newcomers going into this game completely blind. As a person who took all 3 days, while inverted mind you, to complete the Stone Tower Temple, I can only imagine how much worse others might have had it in comparison. I do not wish it upon anyone, but chances are someone, somewhere, had to redo at least one of these temples at least a few times. While that's such an unfair concept for the players to deal with, it's without a fact the most unique mechanic I've seen in a video game. Without this, we wouldn't feel any sense of urgency or the unavoidable doom that will come our way if we aren't fast enough. In a way, it's as if we're experiencing the dread of the end nearing with both Link and the people of Termina. And narratively speaking, this must be a massive toll on Link. I won't say much here since I plan on making a video on the topic in a much later time. Hint, hint. Overall in all, this game is amazing and I'm glad I got to experience it last year. It made me realize that while I do love anime, movies, cartoons, and all sorts of other entertainment media, none of them can come close to what a video game can make someone feel. I honestly wouldn't feel the sense of danger and urgency if this was anything but a video game. It's even more amazing that a game that was released almost 18 years ago can affect me and other players to this degree even till this day. Majora's Mask is truly a masterpiece of its time that everyone should experience at least once in their lives. Hey guys, Fami here, or Fuser, whichever you want to call me, and this video was a bit different from what I normally do. I needed something to fill in the gaps for the BTM videos because BTM videos, for the love of God, as much as I love them, take so much time to make. You have no idea. So let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know also if I improve on my voiceover. I feel like I have. I've been practicing on reading more slowly because if you can't tell, I speak really fast. So yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram because I want to get an audience and talk to you guys more frequently. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys whenever I post again. Take care.